Hello, Duvelak Zanbanani, South Africa. A very warm welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala. The day that the country has been waiting for has finally arrived. Today, South Africans are going to be going to the polls and voting in the 2021 local government elections. And as Expressions, we wanted to be on the ground to make sure that we express your sentiments as a young person. Now, I'm not going to be the only person who's going to be discussing this issue around local elections. My co-host Umxolisi is at the Results Operations Center in PTA. Let's cross over to him.
Thank you very much for that, Jackie. And of course, as you've rightfully mentioned, we are coming to you from the Results and Operations Center in Pretoria. It's also known as the Rock. This is essentially the nerve center of everything that is happening today. And of course, as Expressions, we are making sure that the youth voice is also well represented here. The back of that, it's time for me to take you on a quick tour just to Guti how are things normally working around here on that particular day. So we're just going to go through and take you guys through just a little short walkabout. As you can see, the SABC news broadcast stand has already been set up. That is the national broadcaster, of course, which is going to be bringing you the latest from the elections, Konala ROC. And of course, there are some computers there where we'll be seeing some of the observers coming. And on the far end is where the political parties on the day will be seated. And of course, each and every political party has been allocated a computer to cross-check, double-check, and triple-check everything. And of course, there's this setup that I like to my right, which is of an X. This is where all the IEC staffers have been placed right now, making sure that everything is going according to plan. And also on the day, we can see there's a screen on my far left-hand side, which is where all the results, where if and when they come in, by the time we are finished ukvota, the results are going to be coming in. As they trickle in, we'll be seeing them on those screens mounted on that wall there. What is really fascinating about this is that on the day we will be seeing some of those political parties, of course, sitting on the edge of their seats, trying to make sense of the numbers that they will be seeing coming out from here at the ROC. And of course, that is exactly what is going on here today. As you can see, it's already a hive of activity. So now that we have finished taking you guys on a tour, yala ROC, it's time for us to check in with Jacqueline and see what she has been saying, because I know that she has been having a conversation, Nolusha, from different communities. Jackie, let's hear that conversation out.
You're watching Expressions, your number one youth current affairs show. We are on the ground to ensure that you as a young person are given a voice and a presence when it comes to the 2021 local government elections. Now, I'm going to be speaking to young people that come from various communities. We want to find out, what are their sentiments when it comes to voting? Are they hopeful? Do they feel that it makes a difference if they do vote or they don't vote? Let's go and have a conversation with them. Are you registered? Are you going to vote? But most importantly, why?
I am definitely going to vote. And it's actually important because this is how one exercises their democratic right.
Who's not voting? Who's not voting?
The reason I'm not registered to vote is I feel political parties as a whole only do things when it suits them.
I'm actually from Orange Farm, extension 6A. I am not registered to vote, and I was last year, but I will never vote again because I feel like all political parties have failed us.
I stay at Everton and I'm not registered to vote. Reason being is I think they are always preaching propaganda. Why I'm saying that is because they always promise us things, whereas they don't.
Mina ekaslam angina case and angina 22 years, angina skondir, angina Apollo.
I'll never vote because I personally feel I'm creating a job for other people whilst I'm not employed.
Ngingavota before, then manje angazi nje kwenzakalani, noma ngirejistile noma ngikhona encwadini noma ngikho, mara ngeke ngiphinde ke ngivoti ngoba manje ngibonile ukuthi kuyafana ngiyavota mara kunashintsho.
Mina ngirejistile ukuvota ngoba ngifakele umagriza wami pressure ukuthi ngiyovota. I feel like Mesma realistic these days, the only people abavota abantu abadala.
Mina nginomunkwatela noko kwambeka yo vote because angandasenga ukuthi gogo kahle kahle uvotelani because since ngizala wena mokuvote uyahamba uyofola iline uphathwe i-high blood ushiswe ilanga but then akunamehluko akunashintsho.
And been voting since ever from 1994 as I feel this is the democratic right to do as the forebearers of the liberators who came and emancipated us from the apartheid system.
Do we know what the impact and the implication is if you choose not to vote?
So I know if you don't vote ukuthi voice yakho ngeke izuzwakale.
If I vote, if hunzo laula ANC tlo re ka vote ya ka ANC ya ka vote ya ka kene ka tlasa ANC. If ineli EFF it tlo kena under EFF, if ineli DA it kene under DA, but I didn't vote for that.
Nna ne ke sa tsebe le hore ha ke sa vote, my vote will be going to the ruling party because I feel personally hore we should be educated ka the constitution, we should be educated ka the human rights. Hore re ska lo etsa bo di Soviet Union, the history of the industrial revolution, we should be educated into history ya rona mo South Africa.
Do you feel ukuthi ama challenges that you have as young people can be addressed through voting?
No. We talk about unemployment, we talk about business owners that are youths that don't get enough opportunities to get their businesses financed. I am in the culinary industry, we don't get a lot of opportunities.
Do you know the difference between local government election and national elections?
I don't know the difference. It's not that I'm not interested, but I'm not seeing any change. So why must I be interested in something that I don't see is going forward?
When you're coming to local government elections, this is where it's important because the beneficiaries who are on the ground, which are us as youth, the elders and whoever it may be, we are the ones who are supposed to receive the beneficiation of whatever they are planning national.
Angazi mehluko guys, but I'm still poor. Gulogu vote every year, I'm still poor.
Is there a political party or even independent candidates that you feel speak to you?
I personally, I don't have any political party that speaks to me because they are all fighting against each other.
Awekho ama-political parties akhuluma kakhulu ngezinto ezi-affecta like youth, especially ama-drugs.
Money is being spent on campaigns where else there's people who are homeless, there are people that need jobs.
Ayikho political party nje khuluma nami maybe nje ngishasha ngimotivate bafika nje bazongishasha makumele ngizovota.
Today abantu bavote ne personally tlabe ke pusha side hustle yakho because I never get queue line the hours whereas so side hustle yakabo is stuck.
I am going to be busy with my clients' meal plans.
I'm starting a new business, so I'll be focusing more on my business. It will give me a day to find new clients.
Well, my opinion is with the president deploying 10,000 soldiers. First of all, that's money. I gotta be president, that's money. When are you going to deploy 10,000, I don't know, business funders to fund 10,000 businesses?
I didn't know the president will be deploying 10,000 soldiers for the voting day. So if President Okhona deploy the soldier for voting, why Assad deploy for safety of community? Because there are a lot of crimes.
We went through a phase of looting and a phase whereby certain individuals wanted to destabilize the country.
My way forward is I'm going to continue investing in my skills.
Ngabona ama-political party for mina nje useless. Mina bayekela ukulwa bodwa bahlanganisa into eyodwa ezosisiza sonke.
We need new leaders. I think youth though. I think youth again the political parties.
We must work as a community because we are governments ourselves.
Ngeke uphathi 27 years usithembisa into eyi-1. Ne? So I believe ukuthi mina political party partner for 5 years and then after lapho siyavota siyayikhipha ngoba isebenzi. Ne? So le party 27 years. asinikeni abanye abantwana i-chance nabo bayifile i-pressure yokungaphathi bazi ukuthi mababuya in power bazoyenza into ezi-right.
As you have heard, we've spoken to young people across the board, just so that as Expressions, we're able to give you a voice as a young person as we are obviously going to the polls today. And I think it's very important, I think, just for young people as a whole, to not lose hope at all. Don't lose hope. There's definitely a future worth fighting for. You're watching Expressions. We'll be back right after this.
You're still watching Expressions on SABC 1. Now we are still coming to you from the Results and Operations Center, also known as the ROC in Pretoria. I prefer to call it the Nerve Center sometimes. Now, today we're having key conversations around the local government elections. Siyabuza Gaguti, how does this affect you as umuntu omusha? Joining us now on the program is Ostembiso Wagastole, who is the SABC social media specialist. It's great to have you. Interesting times today as we see there's already a hive of activity. Let's speak about ukubaluleka with social media and how have political parties been using social media to campaign.
Thank you so much, Tulis, for having me on your program. I must say it's exciting times indeed. We have seen a lot of political parties using social media to appeal to their voters. As you would know, their target are those young stars, and it was very important for them to reach out to them and make sure that they have organic content that really addresses that and speak to them. And I must say, we have seen a lot of political parties coming on social media, but most importantly, political leaders themselves in the forefront, those independent candidates, and of course, those in the forefront running under the political parties that they belong to.
So what does this actually mean, Ms. Temeso? Does this mean that we're likely to see more young people voting?
It's still not clear whether them expressing their views about the parties that they will vote for, will that really result into them really going to the booth and voting for that particular party.
Absolutely. You know, I'm very interested in also knowing what some of the youth that are watching the Expressions right now have been tweeting, and what's really interesting and something that they should also know, myself, we booth vote are not allowed.
Yebo qinisile mfowethu awadingakali ke lapho ngoba ke phela kuchaza ukuthi lokho uzobuphula umthetho we-IEC bashilo ukuthi cha uma uyovota lapha nje vele ufaka uX wakho uhambe ke ungasuzithola ke usenkingeni. Kubaluleke kakhulu ukuthi abantu ke bawulalele lo mthetho benze ngendlela efanele.
Why singakwazi ukuvota online? What do you know about that? What are developments on that half? Because I know there were concerns on security as far as that is concerned.
Yes, I mean this morning I was listening to Terry Tilane, who was of course previously with the IEC, in one of the interviews that we had with him in studio, and he was indicating that he's one of the people who have been advocating for digital voting, and of which I think that's a direction we should be taking in regards to that, just to make sure that we move with times in the digital space. And the IEC then, I believe, as we move with times in the next elections, hopefully they will be then going to that stage. As we know, we are in the pandemic currently. We are in the pandemic in COVID-19, and those measures should have been placed in terms of making sure that people, register online, but at the same time, maybe there isn't much plans that has been put yet in place. But what is critical is that there has been those calls.
Thank you so much for your time on the program today. So now we are talking to SABC specialist researcher Maswele Ralibona, who now joins us on the show. Maswele, it's great to have you on the program today. Maswele, I just want you to tell us, what can we expect in terms of the youth voter turnout?
The issue of youth voter turnout or youth making it to the voting stations is quite a problem. It's quite problematic in South Africa. They will tell you, why should I vote? Because the same thing that happened in the past will happen. Some will tell you, our parents have been voting since 1994, and the results are these gravel roads, are this lack of water, and many other things. So I wouldn't say youth will go out in numbers and vote. Even if you go to the IEC website now to check the number of registered young people versus the number of registered adults, you will see that the number of registered young people is not satisfactory at all.
So I think you've just led me straight into my next question, Ubuza Guti. What is the reason behind youth voter apathy?
If you check at the top in the ruling party, it's only elders. 60 plus. Maybe somebody in her 50s there within the top 6. Then you go to parliament, you check who are those MPs sitting there. Average age between 40 and 50 or 50 plus. That's the average age in the MPs. But who do they want to see in the voting stations? It's young people. The young people are asking themselves, why should we vote if every time there's going to be something, these people don't come down to ask us questions as to what do you want to see? Instead, they decide there, we see by the statements, we see them on TV, but they don't consult with us.
Let's talk about perhaps how do you think COVID-19 is going to affect e-voter turnout, particularly the youth electorate?
I don't see COVID-19 being a factor. Look at what has been happening with the voting, with the campaigns. The ANC has been having bombastic or big, huge number of people attending the rallies. The president has been, you saw the president there. He is the one who's been preaching about compulsory masks, compulsory this and that, but he's been on the ground with people without masks, without anything, and the numbers as we speak now, they are very low. The EFF has been on the ground. Nobody said people must come to the campaigns with masks on or preventative measures for against COVID-19. So I don't see COVID being an issue when it comes to voting.
Maswele Ralibona, a specialist researcher here at the SABC. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that's all from us. Kunala Air Results and Operations Center, also known as The Rock in Pretoria. It's back to Jackie.
Thank you, Mko. Mubakhedu Kokhaya. We continue with this very important conversation around the sentiments of young people when it comes to the 2021 local government elections. And we've got something really special for you after the break. We're going to be following Unhlanhla Lux, who is the president of the Soweto Parliament, as we get to see his voter experience. Make sure you stay with us. You're watching Expressions. If you just joined us, a very warm welcome to Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. We are on the ground and we are putting a spotlight on the sentiments of young people on today's local government elections 2021. Now, since it is voting day, we thought that it would be appropriate to actually follow a young person as they vote. We wanted them to be your eyes and your ears. Now, we're going to be spending some time with Unhlanhla Lux, who is from the Soweto Parliament, and we're going to find out from him how his voting day actually went. So let's go inside and meet him. Expressions decided that is going to pick you up today, and you're going to be the eyes and the ears for our viewers and share your voting experience with us.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I welcome the suggestion, and let's do it and show the rest of South Africa what the 1st of November actually has in store for everyone.
Excellent. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's do it.
For a lot of people out there who might not necessarily know who you are, please can you introduce yourself? Hantle, what exactly do you do for the community?
My name is Unhlanhla Lux. I'm the president of Soweto Parliament. Soweto Parliament is a massive accountability structure that holds politics/government accountable for service delivery in the township, that holds businesses that are trading in the township economic accountability and social accountability, which means holding ourselves accountable for the development of our own township. I voted in my district, which is Pinville. So I'm in Pinville now. We had remote zone 7, but it's zone 7, zone 5 area. And look, that makes a lot of sense because that means your VD, your voting station, is within walking distance. You see Vokogo walking in, you see the community up and downing. You don't see too many cars because of the convenience that it's in our communities. They're not expecting us to take a taxi to go vote, so which is a big plus for me.
And today, I mean, why was today important for you? What does it mean for you as a young person to be voting today?
Look, it's important because the future of this country is in the hands of young people. So if young people don't exercise or even just show the responsibility that we have the interest of making South Africa work in future when all these old people are gone, then we have a problem. That means the future of South Africa is bleak. Now, it's important that we show responsibility and encourage other young people who are registered to go out and register and vote, because it's an important thing to do. It's a center, it's the heartbeat of our democracy and constitutional rights at the time.
Give us the logistics of your voting today.
Yeah, look, to be honest with you, hats off to IEC, organized, seamless. They've got analog, and from analog meaning a manual system, which is paper. They take your name, and then you go to a pad, a guy with a pad, and then from there also takes your name off the system, and then you go to where they verify you, and then they give you a ballot sheet, and then you go vote, you put it in the box, off you go. Seamless. It was just amazing, and well done again to the IEC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who did you vote for and why?
I voted for the youngest person on that ballot box. You might not know the person. I just made my research. Say, this is the youngest person here.
What is life like after local elections for young people and some of the issues that they're facing?
History does suggest that after voting, the young boys go back to street corners. We go back to submitting CVs that never get responded to. We go back to Fola Line 4350. We go back to normal.
What are your feelings around having troops on the ground? We also saw that the SABC is here. I mean, are we expecting disruptions? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Do you remember during the looting, the biggest problem is that government wasn't ready, and everybody blamed government to say that you guys are reactional, you're not proactive. So for me, whenever someone or government becomes proactive and puts measures in place just to protect the right of people to vote, I support that.
And you know, for a lot of young people who don't feel as if voting makes any difference, what would you like to say to them?
I'm telling them that they fell for the trap. They fell for the trap because the current systems are designed in such a way that young people must feel that they don't have a role or they don't have value that they can contribute towards the development of this country. Now, the systems have made you to think that way, and you are a product of the system. It's unfortunate. You need to exercise independent thinking and start realizing that you have so much value in your life. And some of the ways to show the value you have is by putting an X on a ballot box.
So what is the future for yourself, for the Soweto Parliament, but most importantly for young people that you are working with that are on the ground?
Yeah, so what the future for us is simple. We're going to continue as young people to hold government accountable for service delivery. The difference is we're not just only going to do it in Soweto now. We have a new structure that is a national structure because a lot of young people from across the country have asked for our leadership to say that you need to come to our places as well. So we can't travel to them as Soweto Parliament. We have something called the Young People's Government of South Africa, which is something that has started. It's a platform for young people to come together, unite regardless of race or religion, and make sure that together as young people we're playing an active role in holding government accountable for service delivery and also holding business accountable in our immediate communities where we come from.
Lux, thank you so very much for allowing Expressions to go on this voter journey and to be the eyes and the ears of young people on the ground. So we've come to the end of today's episode, and we hope as Expressions we were able to represent the views and the sentiments of young people on the ground. And we also hope that you were able to express your democratic right. And of course, it was such a pleasure to spend some time with Unhlanhla Lux as we got to see his voter experience. But from me, Jacqueline Maphala, and the Expressions team, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Adios, muchachos.